now you have to appear for your write. Now you have to write for your IA paper, internal assessment paper, and most of you who are first time writing a paper. So I think you need to know how to write a paper. These are the examples which I am giving you. Although these are not the only examples, but you can have many more. But these are some of the articles, the IA papers which are written by some of the students. So I would just simply read out and then I'll give you an idea that these are this is the way you can write down your IA paper. So let me just read out. We are not going for any explanation because the papers are self-explanatory. So you just listen me carefully. This is the topic: unveiling the quilt, investigating the queerness and homophobic undertones of Ismat Chaghtai's Lihaf. This is a question, and how this question has been dealt by this particular student. So the abstract is being written here, and I'm just reading out abstract. Ismat Chaghtai's Urdu short story Lihaf, the quilt, receives its attention and controversy over the suggested depiction of lesbianism. The same has been deserted by many critics who analyzed the text for the space it negotiates for the same-sex desire. Whether radicals or simply performative, in this paper, I will attempt to look at this sexual politics and read the text by acknowledging the complexities and nuisance in its sexuality, especially according to the contemporary understanding of sexuality being fluid and in constant flux. I will address these nuisance and try to comprehend the queerness of Begum Jan in the ambit of queer theory and queer history of India. Albeit successful in giving space for the expression of female sexuality and appreciated by bringing taboos used like homosexuality into middle class conversation, this paper posits Chaghtai's representation of queerness as problematic, misrepresenting it as excessive, abusive and predatory. Now key words are queer theory, female sexuality, LGBTQ, Indian queer literature, queer reading. And this is what the introduction is there. Because you have a word limit of 1200 and I think plus minus 1500 you can do. And in this word limit, your bibliography, your citation and all these, any annexure if you are putting, all these would be quotation, they will be excluded. So this is what the 1200 words we are going to read out. And okay, so gender theorists of recent times have used analytical work and political actions to draw attention to why certain form of desire and sexual expression have become privileged, while others have been seen as deviant, unhealthy or even criminal. Most relevant theories in this 20th century have centered on essentialist and binary ideas of identity. Then the 1990s saw the emergence of queer theory, influenced by Michael Foucault. Stepping away from the existing feminist theory, queer theory is a radically anti-essentialist theory that argues that desire, sexuality and genders are socially constructions and open to challenge and change. This is the reference from Hall 107. It took a prominent place in, because the student has tried to quote it. So this is what it is, double quote it is giving. And it took a prominent place in the ongoing political and philosophical movement. In this paper, I take queer theory as my framework for analysis of fluid possibilities for interpretation it provides. While queer theory has mostly developed in the West, Indian researchers have been using it to discern the various works for possibility of queer reading as well as developing their own ground for queer studies in literature, media, law, sociology, etc. A key work on queering the history of literature in India has been done by Ruth Vanita and Salim Kedwai in their book Same Love in India, Reading from Literature and History. One of the authors they look into this Ismat Chagtai, a prominent figure in the progressive writers movement of Urdu. Ismat Chagtai, well known for Lihaf and Tadih Lakir, is considered an important pillar of modern Urdu fiction and realism in Indian literature. Her works dealt with a rebellious and startling theme, often portraying female sexuality in social positions in society with a sincerity that put in her timeline. A loosely based adaptation of Lihaf, the movie Fire by Deepa Mehta, was also the center of controversies when the film was released in 1998. Leading a political group setting their postures on fire years after Lihaf, this publication in 1942, the theme of the short story is still struggling to be understood in the modern context. Lihaf has been lauded for its portrayal of same-sex desire. Thus, this paper uses it as the primary text to investigate these carnal negotiations between character. But as seen in most works of literature, Lihaf is also not without its compilations. Homophobic undertones emerge on close reading of the text, putting the author's intentions into question. Much research has been done on Chagtai's work for the Spate negotiates for same-sex desire and female sexuality. Subhash Chandra rejects the possibility of Lihaf being a lesbian text or scrutinizing under a lesbian feminist lens, whereas Ashley Telly suggests that the corporal aesthetics employed in Chagtai's chosen depict for radical same-sex politics. Upon further textual analysis, I also gauged the character of Begum Jan as mostly been investigated within a binary lens. In contrary, society changing landscape of identity politics, it becomes important to dismantle the existing binary structure and explore alternate vantage point to inspect the characters. Here, this paper used queer theory as a novel approach to analyze and research. The methodology employed in this paper is mainly textual analysis within the framework provided by queer theory, while also understanding the social and cultural landscape of India. Now, this is annotated bibliography is Ruth Vanita and Salim Kidwai, Same Love in India, Reading from Literature and History. Then Ruth Vanita and Salim Kidwai's existence, research on the inconstable history of homoerotic love and desire in Indian literature and mythology has been considered an outstanding work of scholarship on queer studies. This book covers several stories, poems, letters, biographies, histories from the ancient and medieval materials to the late 20th century. They explore the erasing of the queer history and identities where homosexuality or the display of homoerotic passion is considered to be perversion. The book also analyzed Deepa Mehta's Fire and Ismail Chagtai's the Heel Lakir as they investigate the homoerotic theme laid within a modern heterosexual family structure. In this paper, I will use their analysis as a base of further investigate the same-sex desire portrayed on Lihaf. Then Peter Barry, Beginning Theory, an Introduction to Literary and Cultural Theory. 4th edition, First Indian Viva Book Private Limited. Peter Barry investigates the literary and cultural theories that have emerged till now, explaining over 14 theories that form a crucial base of academic research and studies. Barry explores the history of several theories and given an unbiased discussion of many theories that have contributed to a particular idea or concept. This paper will particularly focus on the chapter Queer Theory. Barry explored the cause of beginning of the queer theory, which exists as a direct opposition to lesbian feminism and essentialism. He discusses the argument presented for the fluidity of identity by Judith Butler and Naive Kosovsky Sedgwick, which this paper will extend upon and form a theoretical basis for this. Investigations of Begum Jan's queerness. The paper argues that there is no fixed inner essence when it comes to queer identity. Then Parimavada Gopal, Habitation of Womanhood, Ismail Chagtai's Secret History of Modernity. Modern Indian Writings in English to Read Translation, a multilingual anthology, Dhananjay Kapse, Worldview Publication 2016. Priyamvada Gopal, in Introduction to the Essay, explored the gender politics that existed in 1940s within an upper middle class Muslim household presented in Lihaf. She argued that this short story is neither celebration of lesbian relationship nor a feminist political act. She explores the way in which the story shows same-sex desire as a vice and how the realism in Chagtai's writing is used to draw attention to the layered sexual politics. This paper further works on arguments to analyze how Chagtai navigates the politics of desire and how her language portrays it as a perversion. Then actually this is what the best idea this student has given, that whatever the basic primary writings you are taking, she has given lot of explanation here. Okay, so that's how this paper is becoming lengthy. It's going beyond the word limit, but still technically it cannot be taken as a more than, it's not crossing any limit, because these are the annotated bibliography is being given. So through these books again the theme is explored here, from this Ruth Vanita, then Peter Barry, then Priyamvada. So this is a smart way, and you can actually give annexure also, you can give citation, you can give quotations, and moreover any extra explanation you can add in the bibliography, and that way you can actually make your paper beyond word limit, but still technically it is not crossing the limit, and you can get a very good marks. So this is actually biography. So this is a smart idea, and I think all of you can adopt this annotated bibliography, and then finally your bibliography. So these are the Asha Chuthain, a lesbian standpoint, then Joshua Barnett, this is Queer Encyclopedia of Diversity and Social Justice, Peter Barry, Beginning Theory, and then Ranjita Biswas, Polymorphous Sexuality, and then Subhash Chandra, Ismat Chagtai, and then Ismat Chagtai, the quilt, the text itself, and then the fragments autobiographical, and then these are the other writings which are being given. So in this way, this is a wonderful paper, and I think you can follow this. Now next I'm coming, that is this paper is again, it's a different topic, it's a divert topic, and let's take the question of dowry and mismatched marriage, a study of Premchand's Nirmala. So this is wonderful. I think Premchand is so familiar with Indian milieu, and I think you can understand it very easily, very quickly you can understand it, and I'm just reading out. Abstract is there. Premchand exposes the ridicule of the institutions of marriage and narrow-minded belief of patriarchal society through the protagonist Nirmala. He also develops a mocking environment on the poke fun at Indian people's upper class and prejudiced views. Character in this novel tries to retain their social respect, but destined to suffer more, resulting in degradation of smooth-running families. Nirmala's poor economic condition obliges her to accept a boy of her age as son. She lives a base life with a mental and physical dissatisfaction. This mismatched marriage creates a havoc in everyone's life. Son meet tragic end. Tota Ram lives a vagabond life, and newly born daughter was left alone in the world to suffer. In Nirmala, the issue of dowry, child marriage, unsuitable marriage, and exploitation of underprivileged communities are also addressed. Though this paper, I aim to study the system of marriage as a barter system, evils of dowry, and how mismatched marriages led to downfall of a family within a hint of women's sexuality and operation in novel. Keywords are female operation, dowry system, mismatched marriages, concept of marriage, Indian society, downfall of family, unfulfilled mental and physical desire, illicit relations. So in this, the abstract is there, abstract is given, then keywords are there, and then we are coming to the introduction. I am not setting that these are the role models of your IA paper. These are the instructions or some of the examples through which you can follow, and nowhere saying through this paper that you have to write in this way only. These are simple examples, and if you have better option, if you have better way to write, please follow that. So introduction. The second one belongs to distinct category of women-centric fiction that accurately capture its social setting and time period. The concept of marriage was established to carry on. Process of procreation. It was strategy to unite two families of economical and political reasons. An old age custom of dowry to help newlywed people couple for setting up their household was also prevailed, but eventually evil practice. Girls were forced to bring money and household items, and failure to do so lead to severe crime against them. The dowry system lead to other crime against women, female feticide, infanticide, dowry, death, cruelty by in-laws, and bride burning. Parents of prospective bride sell all of their inheritance to fulfill the demands of in-laws. Bride do not get a suitable groom and forced to marry old and disabled groom. This difference causes bump between the sheets and later lead to sexual and emotional dissatisfaction and frustration. Dowry ensures a dignified and harmonious relationship with groom's family. However, the government has implemented dowry prohibition in 1961 that made dowry a punishable offence which can lead to imprisonment in penalty. Premchand's novel Nirmala, the second wife, is a story of young girl Nirmala married to an old widower Tutaram due to lack of dowry after father's death. Old husband tried all tactics to attract young Nirmala but fails miserably. Nirmala also has respect and duty towards her husband. She was unwilling tied in this marriage knot and become the stepmother of a young boy of her own age. Premchand presents the inner reality of the character by digging out their mind and make them visible to reader. Tutaram respects his older son, Mansara, having an illicit relationship with his wife. Other literary review. The female character in Nirmala, according to one of the most prominent Indian feminist critics, Geetanjali Pandey, are oppressed and forced to endure great hardship as they exclude the economy and social duties. They don't have any right of decision making. She further argues Nirmala deals with the problem of marriage, a problem created by the compulsion of the dowry and the power of wealth, and producing in its turn to a whole set of emotional and psychological consequences. Her essays explain how Nirmala's sacrifices goes unrecognized even when she happily accepts what comes to her and fulfill her motherly and mistress duties. Daisy Rockwell writes Nirmala as a reading which fully acknowledges the aesthetic discomfort of the 21st century reader. She explores the plight of Indian women through the Western eyes. She further writes, the main argument is that the contemporary reader forces with the possible jarring melodrama in Nirmala need to find a way to see through the often absurd and ludicrous sacrifice, a surface, the exaggeration and exceed that Taylor's special pleading. Similar J. Owen, other critics state Nirmala that mirror of the Indian culture and history. The novel reflects the culture and history of then India. And he further writes it will be a special book for lovers of the Indian culture and history, possibly of the history of women's rights. Indian women are devoid of even basic rights. Their capability of paying dowry determines their fate. It is an old custom prevalent even today that needs reform. According to Patricia Thompson, Nirmala projects the reformist agenda along with the presentation of evil of child marriage too. She considered Nirmala one of the most moving and touching novels in Hindi on the theme of child marriage. She writes, Premchand's novels Nirmala is one of the most poignant novels in Hindi on the theme of young adolescent York to an elderly husband. Clearly a reformist in its agenda, this novel succeeds in exploring sensitive and even dangerous terrain. Child brides don't have enough physical and mental maturity to nurture a family. Downfall of Tultaram's family is an example of this. The social institution of marriage also requires mental mutual consent. According to Robert H. Lewis, marriage is a relatively permanent bond between permissible mates. Rao 382. The marriage relationship in Nirmala is less than ideal and a little unsettling. Due to her circumstances, Nirmala is compelled to enter an unwanted and unsuitable marriage. Her fiancé Bhuvan Mohan Sinha and his family desert her. Her mother Kalyani does not respect Nirmala, approves for the union. In their entire book, there is not a single reference of Nirmala knowing who will she marry. She only knows that it is a capable somebody who can feed her. No one can agree to marry a groom of her father's age. She was suffocated in this knot. She was accused of affairs and of what not, even when she gave her best to adjust them. Nirmala was dissatisfied with her old husband and often got attracted to men of her own age. Then research questions: how mismatched marriage affect human relations and led to downfall of families. Also the physical and psychological torture driven by the frustration and depression faced by marrying a man her father's age. Dowry as a first and foremost social challenge, concept and development of dowry system. Study of existing system of dowry. Operation of women sexually, economically and socially in Indian society relevant in present day. Is Nirmala by Premchand a critique against the institution of the marriage? Premchand portrays of women thus women who only stay within the domestic sphere and are ideal virtues and compliant. The works cited are Gitanjali Pandey's From Bride Price to Dowry in India, Economic and Political Weekly, Daisy Rockwell, the Oxford India Premchand, Journal of Asian Studies, and then Shankar Rao, Sociology, New Delhi, S. Chand. Then Patricia Thompson, Novel as a Social Protest, the Anti-Colonial Reasons in Munshi Premchand. These are the bibliographies you can read out. Gitanjali Pandey, then Arunima Barua, then Munshi Premchand, and then Shankar Rao. So in this paper you see that one more aspect has been added, literary review is also there, and then research questions are also put. So these are some of the ideas and aspects you can add in your IA paper. Then I am coming to the next paper, and that is let me take the question first. The effect of modernity upon Bavaria in the culture of Bauna. Okay, Bavaria. And this is abstract. Is the state of Assam's culture identity lies in one of the most traditional and engaging form of entertainment, which is a Bawana. Bauna, traditional form of entertainment. This unique art culture was created for the purpose of spreading religious messages to society, whereas the entertainment of good over evil was shown through the Baunic play and culture. The primary source of this study will be Mahim Bora's major work, discussion of Shankar Deva and Shankar Deva Net, the anthology of Shankar Deva drama. Both of these works have given a clear description upon how Shankar Deva, through his power of imagination, creativity and his techniques, has created a Bavaria, an actor of Bauna, character and representation before. Now I am starting from the primary source of this again. So we need to note down this page number. Abstract. Okay. The primary source of this study will be Mahim Bora's major work, discussion of Shankar Deva and Shankar Deva Nat, the anthology of Shankar Deva drama. Both of these works have given a clear description upon how Shankar Deva, through his power of imagination, creativity and his technique, has created a Bavarian actor of Bauna character and its representation before the audience. The secondary sources are Hari Prasad Niyog's and Leela Gogoi's work, Assamar Sanskriti, and Nabin Chandra Sharma, Assamiya Lok Sanskriti Abhas. These works also talks about the heritage and authenticity of this particular folk culture and its impact upon the Assamese community. Bauna is the center of attention here, and it is almost on the verge of extinction. Of the Mohin Bora's major work upon have been chosen in this version of Bauna, highlighted the history of its created Srimanta Shankar Deva and detailed discussion of the each and every Bauna of his and ways of character presented on the stage. The objective of this paper is to understand the impact of the modern times upon classic long established form of Bauna. This paper will also attempt to know the process of characterization and contemporary Bavaria, an actor of Bauna, preparations of his own specific role. This study has been done through a qualitative approach, and paper focus upon the Baunic process in form of time and observations upon the time factor affecting this. The keywords are Bauna, Srimanta Shankardeva, Bhavani, Bavaria and characterization. Introduction. Bhavana is one of the most popular artistic form of Assam, which has been given a definite shape and identity to the Assamese culture. The creator of the Bhavana tradition was Srimanta Shankardeva, who tried to elevate the Assamese society through his creation, spreading the idea of dharma, goodwill and equality. Since the Guru Jona or Shankardeva wanted to present the message of Ek Sarana Nam Dharma, belief upon the existence of one God, he uses Bhavana as an important tool to serve the purpose. This main focus of his study analyzed the factor of time playing a pivotal role in that of Bhavana. The first place there has been discussion upon the meaning of Bhavana and the brief discussion about its creator, Samanta Shankardeva. In the second place, there has been a discussion upon how the process of Bhavana started from 15th century and the ways Bavaria, an actor of Bhavana, prepares herself for a Bhavana. Finally, the relevance of the characterization process has been observed in the present time and how the Bavaria ways of presenting his character have also been changed signifies the one set of modernity. Okay, so from a critical modernist lens of Indrani Pukhan, Barua and Dr. Jerina Begum's research journal, Bhavana, the traditional theatre form of Assam, an instrument for the development moral values. I argue about the psychological aspect of the Bavaria of the theme and Bavaria of today. This work is undertaking the question of modern days Bavaria, motivation factors behind her preparation as a true artist. Literary review. So in these papers we are able to see literary review also and work cited also, and then primary sources and then secondary sources. So these are normal research papers. The research papers criteria or the facts which you need to put, the things which you need to put, because it's very compulsory for us to put a primary sources, then secondary sources, and then work cited and all. So these are simple examples we are trying to go. Now work cited are before that if I have read literary review. So Mohim Bora's work in literary review, actually what are the books primarily directly associated on that subject. We need to give a little brief view about that, and we try to prove that these are the books which are there, but still because certain aspects are missing, so I will try to cover up that. That shows your relevancy of your presentation. Otherwise, if everything has done already, then we are not able to prove the our side of work. So that's how we try to give literary review, which is one of the most significant aspect here, we all know. So Mohan Bora's work, Discussion of Shankardeva, discusses the life history of Shankardeva in his tour of all across India to gather knowledge upon the various art form and culture of India, and then return back to motherland. Assam employs himself in the unique creation of Bhavana culture. His work is another work, that is Shankardeva Nat, Anthology of Shankardeva's drama, discusses Shankardeva's starting of his unique art form with first ever drama. This is China Yatra, Lord Krishna's journey to Vaikuntha through pictures. Stages in 1468 and goes to describing his other 6 Ankiya Nat dramas like Ram Vijaya, Patni Prasad, Parijat Haran and Rukmani Haran, Kali Gopala and Kalya Daman. Bhavana, the traditional theatre from the Assam, as an instrument for developing moral values by Dr. Indrani Pukhan Baruha and Dr. Jerina Begum, have mainly discussed the aspect of morality associated with Bhavana form, how it is shaped and common man's moral behavior, along with the discussion of Shankardeva's art employs psychological perspective. Research scholars Ms. Meenakshi Hazarika paper Assamese Bhavana, a culture appraisal, identifies the main elements of Bhavana like its songs, custom, dance, musical instruments, use, its long, and discussion of the change in the Bhavana culture and tradition, the role of competitions for its preservation. Dr. Raktip Ranjan Saikai and Manoranjan Bordoloi's work, The Mirror of Bauna, discusses the starting of the Bauna culture through Chinha Yatra and its main objective of employing the power of painting and drawing. The changes and achievements of the Lord Krishna oriented culture is covered in this text. The purpose of this research is to identify how Bauna tradition has impacted Bavaria, the actor of Bauna, process of role preparation and understanding how he has adapted the change of the modern themes. And these are the works cited: Mohim Bora, discussion of the Shankar Deva, and then Mohim Bora, Shankar Deva, Nut, an anthology of Shankar Deva's drama. And these are the, Meenakshi Hazarika, Assamese Bauna. So these are the works cited, and primary resources are actually those on the basis of that the research questions are being formulated. So these are the primary resources, means first you read those resources and then the idea of this presentation formulated in your mind, and then you take the help of those and then try to discuss your argument. So these are the primary, it means without reading those primary resources you cannot formulate the idea of research. That's what we need to understand. Mohim Bora, discussion of Shankar Deva, then Pukhan Boroha and Dr. Jarina Begum, Bauna, the traditional theatre form of Assam and its instrument for developing moral values. Then Meenakshi Hazarika, Assamese Bauna, and Ranjan Shekai and Manoranjan Bordoli and Raktim. The second resources are also there, so you can go through this, and I've just I will scroll down it slowly so you can read it out. Some of the internet resources are also there which are showing in blue, so you can see that. So these are the these are the aspects which are trying to find out for our presentation. And the next topic we can take, that is the let us see something which is very okay. This is again a significant question, and let's read out. The question is: a splintered relationship, critical study of friendship and love in sunlight on a broken column. So this is one of the text, and then the question is splintered relationship, critical study of friendship and love in sunlight on a broken column. So abstract is interspersed with the complex ideas such as memory, trauma and home. Anita Hossain's Sunlight on a Broken Column has been elaborately analyzed as a partition text, although the bloody violence in 1947 does not take the center stage in the novel. Its undercurrents gush through intimate relationship within a text. By devolving into the climate of 1930s Lucknow, this essay assesses how the partition rendered most relationship porous and splintered in the novel. Even within this ruptured reality, Hossain's narrative tries to navigate the possibility of love that socially unsettled and intervenes with the domain of feeling of hate, dissolution and chaos of time. Investigating various friendship and relationship in the text, the essay concludes that Sunlight on a Broken Column is a dense piece of literature that performs social activism through political love. So this is a good statement. The essay concludes that Sunlight on a Broken Column is a dense piece of literature that performs social activism through political love. Keywords are partition, home, culture studies, politics of love, friendship, belonging. Introduction is: partition literature from the Indian subcontinent has been rigorously analyzed and examined by scholars. In 2020 book, Raymond traces a line of scholarly speculations to establish that the act of reading partition literature on the South Asian context is synonymous with resistance. As much earlier essays on historian Mushirul Hassan also stresses the importance of sensitizing academicians to partition as defining moment in South Asian history. Among plural motives that derive such an exercise has been the desire to comprehend the matrix of relationship that were shifted by the rupture of 1947. India's partition was not a sudden process. It was feared, deliberated and rejected. In Atia Hussein's Sunlight on a Broken Column was encountered partition undercurrent bleeding into the people's intimate life. Conflicting ideologies have started changing friendship, remaining complexities of love and posing questions of belonging. As the noise of such encounter escalated, the act of dialogue was under inspection. Atia Hussein mentioned, no one spoke to each other, everyone just argued. Encompasses in such hostile time, Alice Hussein's protagonist Laila, who is caught up in the ideological battleground where contending ideas clash and each other. Mushirul 70. After frustrated from the constant intervening, Hussein's protagonist knocked at uncomfortable doors in her family and social companies to fetch out a possibility of reconciling the desire of belonging with the desire of love. This essay shall utilize Hooke's ideas of love as resistance to argue that Layla too rebels not just through her marriage with the Amir, but also by forging strong relationship and affective associations in social relationship. Hence, this paper is an attempt to peep through the cracks in porous relationship through a qualitative literary and cultural analysis. The essays is also establishes social relevance of reading Hussein's text in political climate. As a student hailing from the chaotic city where Ashiana and disintegrated the efforts to unlearn and the polarized understanding of the partition caused by state-determined secondary education is to forefront of this analysis. And then annotated bibliography. We already have to know that annotated bibliography gives us a chance to explain much more. So Hassan Muhammad Mahudul, the troop of home and the representation of the Muslim women in Rokhaya, Shakwat Hussain and Atia Hussain, Sunlight on Broken Column. Behind the Veil, representation of Muslim women in India writing in English. The Mahmudul Hussain essay is refined analysis of the home and homeless in the work of Hussain and Hussain. In the context of Sunlight on a Broken Column, the text adopted critical lens to look at the intense process of Ashiana's decline, bringing important textual moment and themes such as the home and gender division, Zara's marriage, and question of female education onto the forefront. Mahudul's essays track the Atiya's attempt to create an alternative space for belonging through what Hassan called Utopia Home. With Amir and later with her daughter and Nandi, Mahmudul's essays is important for this paper as is immense in the enmeshed relationship that surrounds Layla and propel a conversation about purity of love and its effect on the familial elegance and belonging to the Indian context. Then this is Arunima De, the domestic sphere in Atia Hussein's Sunlight on a Broken Column, the home mirror of the world. And this is what De's essays investigate home as an essential space to understand the history of partition. Drawing on Partha Chatterjee's 1989 essay, the author delves into the social imagination as well as the physical structure of home. Her text investigates the cultural implications of interjecting moments of Hussein's text such as Aunt Abida moving out of the Janana into the Mardana and Layla's decision to marry Amir leading to her exile. This textual investigation helped Day in contextualizing the close association between personal and political. The primary thesis of this paper, Day ultimately establishes home as a lost world that can never be recovered by implicating Ashianas as a microcosm of society at large. For the purpose of this essay, we will require Day's inspection of home as a special space for plural expectation and contestation. So, bell hook all about love, and that this is although separated from us by a long and eventful history and geographical distance, book is important for her social theorization of the idea of self-will love as a force of political change. Book's text is significant in raising essential cultural questions about the society and governance that surpasses the oppressed people by cultivating the politics of hate. Such ideological mooring refuse to immerse in the experience of love, often perceived itself as passive, low-brow domain. Text imbued with personal anecdote is radical in carrying out the theoretics of love from field of psychoanalysis to field of social science. Such established political love as a force of action and change by immersing its theorization and relevance. This definition of love as political and social tool is significant for this essay. So, Antoinette Burton, dwelling in the archive, women writing house, home and history in late colonial India. Burton's text investigates the material space of home in the context of partition literature. Through the analysis of three authors, the book argues how literature collects an alternative archive of history, particularly in the essay Girlhood Among Ghosts, House, Home and History in Atia Hassan's Sunlight on a Broken Column. Burton establishes the primary of the act of memory to find out a sense of belonging. She also delves into the Hussein's authorial details, the historical contextualization of Lucknow and the political events that happened in 1930s to appropriately place the text in history. For the purpose of this essay, Burton's text is important to remind oneself of the political chaos that reigned over a social relationship of the people, residing in the stormy time of the 1930s and beyond. So this is what then the bibliography. These are the primary sources, these are the secondary sources, and then lot of this is taken from JSTOR also, and then you complete the paper. So we have discussed some of the papers, and these are the ideas actually. You don't take that these are the best example. These are the only thing. I only try to give you the basic idea, and that's why it is going to help you in writing an IA paper. So all the best, and please subscribe the channel and share and like the channel. Thank you so much.